Cześć, beautiful ladies. The title of my testimony is Beauty in Trusting. I'm Lesya, I'm from Ukraine, and I became a Christian 26 years ago while studying at the university. I have worked as a graphic designer, photographer, translator, and also I'm happily married to awesome godly men. Yes. I love traveling, and we even lived with my husband 1 year in LA. Then we moved with the mission team to Moscow and later to Kiev. But when the full-scale war began, I moved to Poland with some of the sisters and had one of the best times in my life with this beautiful church. But after a year, I returned to Kiev to be with my husband. And I'm forever grateful to Poland and honored to share my journey with you. My journey from depression and fear to peace and trust in God. Imagine a woman full of worries and anxiety. For a long time, I saw her in a mirror, especially in the mornings. And it was not attractive at all. But what about a woman with inner peace who trusts God? Well, we all can put our trust in something. Some people put trust in money and power. We can put trust in other people, our minds and efforts, or even in our emotions. I personally trusted my performance and my intelligence. But no matter how hard I tried, my inner perfectionist was never satisfied. My mind whispered, "You're not enough." Anxiety and depression took hold sadly for many years. Then, in recent years, fear crept in. Fear of war, fear of sirens, loud voices, fear of losing my husband, fear of the unknown future. And one of my greatest fears came true last year. My husband was illegally taken by the military. For 44 days, he was held in a military center like a prisoner. They moved him between bases, but he refused to take up arms because of his faith. He didn't want to kill even enemies because he is a Christian. And during these long trips he became even sick. Officers manipulated and emotionally pressured him. And because of the drone attacks, men in the barracks had to shelter for hours during the night, so he couldn't have good night's sleep. Our relatives hired expensive lawyers, but weeks passed, money and connections didn't help. I was alone at home, battling depressive thoughts. I feared losing my soulmate. I was overwhelmed. It was hard to concentrate, hard to function, and I even thought, maybe it would be better to die and be with God. It sounded kind of spiritual to me. Yeah. But the only thing I could trust was God's word. I read my Bible daily and I realized God is the God of life, not death. He created this world with beauty and purpose, and He wants me to live, not just survive. He wants me to have full life. So I believed it and made a decision. I choose to live and I choose to trust God that He still has good plans for my life. But then, on day 43, things got even worse. My husband was sent to a training center known for taking everyone to the army. Believers, sick people, everyone. And the lawyers manipulated me. They said if I didn't pay them more money, my husband would either be sent to the front lines or be jailed for life. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to hide. But instead, I remembered God. And I looked at the lawyer and said, I trust in God. He will protect my husband. Then I ran to pray. I cried out to God, Dearest Father, please hide me under your wings, because I wanted to hide, really. I didn't want to experience all of this. I was thinking it's too much for a person to handle. And at that moment, during the prayer, something changed. The fear left me completely. The depression left, which held me captive for years. I felt peace in my heart. My husband also was praying on his way to the training center. They took his phone, but he had his Bible, and he was reading it also. And miraculously, instead of being processed there, he was sent back to Kiev. And the next morning, on day 44, I got a text from a friend in the barracks. They told your husband to take his stuff and leave. They put him in a car, drove 2 blocks from our home, and let them go. God answered our prayers. And soon I saw my husband smiling, walking into our apartment with flowers. And trust me, he usually never brings flowers, so he found a way somehow to get this. And this experience reminds me of the verse from the Bible. 1 Peter 3:5-6 says, For this is the way the holy women of the past who put their hope in God used to make themselves beautiful. Like Sarah, you are her daughters if you do what is right and do not give way to fear. I realized that true beauty comes from trusting God, not relying on people, money, circumstance, or even myself. Sarah in this verse was so beautiful at 90 years old that king wanted to take her as her wife. And I recently turned 45 and started worrying about aging. But now I see true beauty does not fade. As Elizabeth Elliot said, the heart that trusts in God will radiate a beauty that no makeup or jewelry can create. Ladies, if you're facing fear, uncertainty, depression, or anxiety, know this: God sees you, He is faithful, and He wants the best for your life. And I hope my story inspires you also to put your trust in God, and He will be faithful for you too. Thank you.